In the world of sports, there are only a handful of athletes whose names still ring out even decades after they've retired. And when it comes to someone who not only played, but excelled at 2 different professional sports, there's only one name that comes to mind: Deion Sanders. But how did Deion start? Born on August 9, 1967, to the family of Connie and Mim Sanders in Fort Myers, Florida. Deion had a rocky start in life as his parents divorced when he was just 2 years old, and he was raised by his mother and her new husband Willie Knight, who he later credited with being a massive influence in his life. Sanders attended North Fort Myers High School as a letterman and all-state honoree in not just 1 or 2, but 3 sports: football, basketball, and baseball. I mean, this guy is a rare breed. After dominating the high school sports scene, Sanders caught the attention of pro scouts, and the Kansas City Royals selected him out of high school in the 6th round of the 1985 MLB draft. But Deion decided not to sign with the Royals as he was ready to take his talents elsewhere. When Primetime took his talents to Florida State University, he didn't just pick one sport to play, he went out for 3: football, baseball, and track. I mean, who does that? But Deion did, and he made it work by starting in the Florida State Seminoles immediately as a freshman. And he played outfield for the baseball team that finished 5th in the nation while leading the track team to a conference championship. Under legendary coach Bobby Bowden, Sanders became a 2-time consensus All-American cornerback in '87 and '88, intercepting 14 passes in his career, including 3 in bowl games. After an impressive college career, his number 2 jersey was retired by Florida State in 1995. When Primetime left Florida State, he took those multi-sport talents to the NFL draft. And at the scouting combine, he did make a statement. I'm talking about running a 40-yard dash in 4.27 and 4.29 seconds. Man, the dude was a human highlight reel. And when it came to the draft night in '89, the Atlanta Falcons snatched him up with the 5th overall pick. After the draft, Deion immediately impacted Atlanta, making a touchdown on his 2nd attempt in his debut game. Over 5 seasons with the Atlanta Falcons, he intercepted 24 passes and scored 10 touchdowns. But in '94, Sanders took his talents out west and signed with the San Francisco 49ers. He balled out that season, snagging 6 interceptions and 3 touchdowns. 2 of his interceptions were returned for a gain of at least 90 yards, making him the first player to do this in NFL history. Talk about being the initiator. When making his dramatic return to the Georgia Dome in a 49er uniform, Sanders high-stepped 93 yards to pay dirt against his old Falcons team, staring down the whole Atlanta sideline. That's the Primetime swagger right there. By the end of the season, Deion was voted as the Defensive Player of the Year, and when the Super Bowl came, he recorded an end zone interception in the 4th quarter, winning it for his team and earning him his first championship ring. After the postseason, Deion got traded to the Dallas Cowboys, where he signed a monster 7-year, $35 million deal, making him the highest-paid defensive player in the league at the time. Deion was worth the big contract as he led Dallas to another Super Bowl win in '95. Deion earned 4 more Pro Bowl years in his 5 seasons with Dallas, which made him another big money free agency move to the Skins in 2000, before abruptly retiring in 2001. He came out of retirement in '04 with the Ravens for one last hurrah at 37 years old. Even though Primetime was tearing it up on the football field in college, he had some unfinished business on the diamond. After getting drafted by the Kansas City Royals out of high school in '85, Deion got picked by the New York Yankees in '88 while he was still at Florida State. He batted over 280 in the minors, and the Yankees brought him up to the big leagues in '89. But let's just say Primetime's flashy style didn't exactly vibe with the Yankees' buttoned-up tradition. He rocked number 30 instead of the high numbers rookies usually get, and even drew dollar signs in the dirt before an at-bat, drawing boos from the Yankee faithful. But the crazy part is, during that '89 season, Deion hit an MLB homer and scored an NFL touchdown in the same week, becoming the only player in history to pull that off. After a short stint with the Yanks, Primetime took his talents to Atlanta to play for the Braves in 1991, and let me tell you, he could rake. In '92, he led the whole National League in triples while batting over 300 and swiping 26 bags in only 97 games. This man was a machine. He batted .533 in the '92 World Series, though the Braves lost to Toronto. Deion bounced around to a few more teams in the mid-'90s, putting up solid numbers when healthy. But playing 2 pro sports took a toll. As NFL and MLB execs urged him to pick one sport, Primetime famously said, Football is my wife, and baseball is my mistress. But throughout his multi-sport career, Primetime remained a must-see TV. I mean, they didn't call him Primetime for nothing. With his stellar performance in both sports, Deion is the only athlete to play in a Super Bowl and a World Series. After retiring from the NFL, Primetime embarked on a new challenge, coaching. He led the Prime Prep Academy high school team as head coach in 2012-2013. He then moved on to coach AAA Academy for 2 seasons before becoming an offensive coordinator at Trinity Christian, where he got to coach his sons, Shiloh and Shadur. But Sanders' most significant coaching move came in 2020 when he was named head coach of the Jackson State Tigers, an HBCU college program. Sanders led the Tigers to a conference title in his first season and was named FCS Coach of the Year. His crowning achievement came when he flipped the nation's #1 recruit Travis Hunter from Florida State to Jackson State, which was unheard of for an HBCU program. After a 27-6 record at Jackson State, Colorado hired Sanders in December 2022 to take over their struggling program. Deion won his first 2 games as the head coach of Colorado, but his best one came in his first game as their head coach, where he delivered the greatest shock in college football history. After 68 scholarship recruits, Sanders took a team that won only 1 game the previous season to a win over the number 17 ranked football college team. And that wraps up our look at Coach Prime from his early life to his coaching days. His ability to connect with young athletes and recruit at an elite level is a great advantage for his Colorado job. And you can bet Coach Primetime is on his path to legacy, just like he did in practically turning Jackson State into a powerhouse overnight. Deion Sanders was never one to back down from a challenge. So now that he's taking on the task of restoring Colorado to prominence, expect some fireworks. If his track record shows anything, Primetime is always a must-see TV.